Three tight ends. So it's a challenge because each one of those personnel has a different call.
I just got over here. Can you just talk about Jakob and how he was able to step in?
He did a good job. I mean, we thought he did a really good job as far as the communication part of it. For a young guy, he was presented with a lot of complicated things out there. He did good. What we got to get better at is just making more plays. He's played 80-something plays, only made like 3 or 4 tackles. The Mike linebacker has to lead us in tackles, and so that's been our challenge this week is you got to be more productive. You got to make plays. It's good to do your job, but the Mike has the system is set up for him to make a lot more tackles than he did.
What's the biggest difference that you see between Mizzou and Vandy?
It's the personnel.
AJ being out, what did you see from him?
Reeves is probably the most solid guy we got over there as far as doing his job every play. He was on. I mean, he gets better every single week. He communicates, and he was really. You could see him in the game talking to Jakob and getting the checks right and those things. He was good in the cover down. For Reeves, this game here is going to be a challenge because he's got a million different reps in what we call the nickel world. But this is a world that's a little bit different because now, with 2 tight ends and 2 backs, it's a big man's game. They're playing you like the Alabamas and the Georgias are playing you.
You guys look at maybe playing some different personnel groupings because of that, or not so much worried about the matchup there in terms of bigger guys?
It's bigger guys. I mean, they're going to make you play big. When you're playing with, what we call nickel sub or sub personnel, they're little guys on the football field. And they, what they did at Stanford, when they do an outstanding job, you play so much in nickel that you don't get many reps in what you call in base. So it's a ton of challenges and a ton of alignments, and the verbiage is totally different. The checks are totally different. And that's the one thing we don't have a million different reps. We got a million reps in the sub world because that's what we see all the time. In this world here, what they're doing, you can see why they were successful at Stanford because everybody there was what we call sub. And then all of a sudden they jump into what we call the base personnel. It just presents you a whole different challenge because you don't have many reps in it.
How much will that challenge his production getting off blocks? Jakob?
Yeah, I mean that's his game, man. To me, this is a big man's game this week. A linebacker playing interior, playing with his hands, ripping off blocks, that kind of deal. Not putting you in space and making you come off a block and tackle a wide receiver or running back in space. Everything is congested. So we got to work on alignments and our assignments and the cues. This is his type of game, in my opinion.
Thanks.
Yep.
Obviously, I was going to ask you about Jakob. Just what were your thoughts on his first performance?
For a young freshman at 19 years old, I think he did a really good job. I thought he did the communication that we asked him to do. He was right on. What I've said before is we got to get more production out of him though, because the Mike linebacker in the system is usually the leading tackler. He only had like 3 or 4 tackles in that game and missed like 3. So we got to put more pressure on him and make plays at that position, make the plays that come at him. Then also go outside your rim and make plays that you're not supposed to make.
Was the bigger issue shedding blocks or just making
shedding blocks? I mean, again, when the ball was running inside, he was good on the inside. The ball was on the perimeter. That's where he didn't make as many plays than some of our former guys.
I think 3 of your outside linebackers, Maven and Barry and McDowell, are all former safeties. How big an adjustment is that to go from safety to linebacker?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, in today's game, the way it's played, that's the kind of guy you want because of the way teams are spreading you out in the sub-worlds. But this week, they're not doing that to you. This week is where you want big. You want big and strong. And they're going to line you up and put 2 backs in the backfield and 2 tight ends and this old-school smash-mouth football. And it's going to present you, with the shifts and the motions, the changing in your run fits. It's different. And if you haven't got a million reps on it, it takes a lot of film room, a lot of writing. It's just totally different than the world we've been in because we haven't done it much of it.
How has Maven made that transition?
Maven's smart. He's really cerebral and really smart, and we work on